Failure of Chow Yun Fat. As one of the brightest stars of Hong Kong cinema, China, in the 1980s and 1990s, Chow Yun Fat still suffered a catastrophic failure when he decided to try his hand at the Hollywood movie capital. According to SCMP, Hollywood was the promised land for Hong Kong filmmakers in the early 1990s. Ngovu Sam and then veteran producer Truong Gia Chan paved the way when directing Hard Target, 1992. The film, produced by Universal Studios, with a Chinese director, is the beginning of the Hollywood advance of a series of names such as Jackie Chan, Tu Kak, and Lam Lin Dong. At that time, Chow Yun Fat was one of the most famous movie stars of Hong Kong, China. The actor was invited by Truong Gia Chan to Tinseltown, Sparkling Town, another term for Hollywood movie capital, to try his luck. Despite being backed by the leading William Morris agency and gaining media attention, Chow Yun Fat still failed in the movie capital. The God Card's American Journey. In an interview with SCMP, Chow Yun Fat said that his relationship with Hollywood began around 1989, after the success of Deep Blood Double, starring with Lee Tu-hein, Tang Zhang. In the 1990s, Hong Kong filmmakers were not well known in Hollywood. But at that time, American filmmakers always invited Chow Yun Fat to play the role of the boss of the Triad, a notorious gangster that appeared in Hong Kong films. Chow Yun Fat declined all invitations. "I actually did it a lot in Hong Kong, so why should I go to America, Europe to play this role," he said. In a 1995 interview, Chow Yun Fat said he was frustrated with the direction of the Hong Kong film industry. Actor Shen Bai said that the golden age of Chinese cinema was over, the industry gradually lost its market in the US. Chow Yun Fat said he was outraged at being seen as an acting machine. In addition, Hollywood is also a land to make money. At that time, he admired John Travolta, who was paid up to $21 million to play the lead role in Broken Arrow directed by Ngovu Sam. The Hong Kong actor intends to go to Hollywood to act in an action film directed by Ngovu Sam, with a script written by Quentin Tarantino. Hollywood is every actor's dream. Everyone wants to have at least one chance to go there. Ngovu Sam gave me that opportunity. I want to do one or more movies in Hollywood and one in China every year, he said. However, the film only stopped at the retain at the writing stage and it never came to fruition. Culture commentator Ben Sin said it made sense for Chow to move to Hollywood at the time. Chow Yun Fat came to America because the cinema industry was slowing down and Hollywood had some reasonable financial offers for him. Even Hollywood's low-budget theatrical films pay more than most jobs in Hong Kong. In addition, Chow Yun Fat was most famous in Canton in the late 1980s. By the mid-1990s, his star status had declined, Sin said. Chow Yun Fat at that time always expressed that he wanted to live in Hong Kong, did not like to move to Hollywood, but felt that if he did not go to the US, he would miss a good opportunity. In Hong Kong, I think 40 is a bit old age. I trying to make a career in America. The actor moved to live in a mansion in Los Angeles, opposite Truong Gia Chan's workplace. At first, Chow Yun Fat did not have a visa and only stayed in the US for 6 months, then applied for an extension. His concern is that he is not fluent in English. Chow Yun Fat attended courses and was taught foreign languages by his wife. The actor said he spent too much effort worrying about delivering his lines in English. He had to translate everything into Cantonese to understand the characters. That made him unable to fully devote himself to acting. The failure of the Hong Kong film tycoon. By 1996, Chow Yun Fat had acted in 3 films. The first is The Alternative Killers. The work is expected by many people even though this is the debut work of director Antoine Fuqua. American producers consider Chow Yun Fat's coldness to be the attraction and plan to make him into the Chinese James Bond. However, the work that had an all-star premiere in Hong Kong failed miserably in the US. The next film, The Corruptor, is a faint imitation of Chow Yun Fat's own familiar roles in Hong Kong. Expert Chris Montello said, Chow Yun Fat is framed in foreign, action movie roles. His Hollywood films are like cheap imitations of himself. Especially works about triads and the Chinatown Police. Montello explains that this may be the only type of role that Chow Yun Fat is accepted by foreign audiences. God of Cards has the opportunity to expand the role, the audience, thanks to the third film Anna and the King. He played the King of Thailand in the historical work with Jodie Foster. Ultimately, I don't need a gun to make a living. It gives a new feeling. I'm very excited, Chow Yun Fat said at the time. Chow Yun Fat hopes Anna and the King gives him more lead roles, perhaps giving him the chance to appear in dramatic productions. However, the film had poor sales, the actor's path to success in Hollywood was almost over. Ironically, it was the American-made Chinese-language film Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon that helped Chow Yun Fat become a resounding success in America. But Hollywood producers consider it lucky. It did not lead to the quality roles Chow Yun Fat wanted. Since 2006, he returned to Hong Kong, building a name in the mainland. Chow Yun Fat only returned to the US with a cameo role in Pirates of the Caribbean, at World's End. The small role in Dragon Ball was also criticized. Chris Montello, program manager of the Asian American International Film Festival, said, Chow Yun Fat faces challenges in Hollywood. He struggled to find a role that would help him showcase his acting talent. Montello said Chow Yun Fat is known in the US mainly through the action movies of Ngovu Sam and Lam Lin Dong. Most Americans don't see Chow Yun Fat in dramas, romances, or big-budget films. Even the success of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon didn't lead to good roles. Chow Yun Fat returned to Hong Kong after playing a supporting role in the action movie Bulletproof Monk. Chow Yun Fat struggled to be cast as the male lead. In fact, Asians do not show the masculine, romantic side in the eyes of Americans. It was not until later that Asian men were considered attractive. Lead with a Western audience, Montello said.